we will engage our next change speaker right away. And that is Nana Kofi Acquah. He's a documentary photographer and lead pastor at the Accra Community Church. He describes himself as possessed by Christ. You will be blown off your feet when you hear him. Welcome, sir. Please unmute your mic. Right.
All right.
Great, I can hear you now. Thank you.
Yeah, you can hear me. Fantastic,
right.
And thank you. Thank you so much for the privilege and the opportunity to be here. Amazing submissions already. So I want to speak on why, as a nation, I feel that we are sitting on gold and begging for brass. Knowing everything you know about Ghana, everything from politics to religion to culture to education to health, knowing everything you know about the state of affairs in this country now, I want you to imagine, based on the truth you know, where Ghana will be in 20 years. Considering the trajectory we're on, where will we be in 30 years, in 40 years? What future will our children inherit? We are selling all our forests, cutting down all the trees. We are pouring concrete everywhere. Our sea is full of plastic waste. Our fishermen catch more plastic than fish nowadays. Artisans can't find apprentices. Our young people are sports betting their future away or selling their bodies on social media. They call it hookups, or looking for a way to get out of this hot country. Yes, the country is hot, but nothing changes. But if nothing changes now, can you imagine how much hotter things will be in 20 years? What kind of Ghana will our children have? Ever since Europeans discovered Elmina in 1471, we have never been the same again. Before they came, we were not Ghanaians. We were tribes and clans and many beautiful languages. Today, what are we? We are struggling to define exactly what it means to be a Ghanaian. If Ghana was a brand, it's a struggling one. It still lacks a clear identity and definition. What does it mean to be a Ghanaian? What does it mean to live on God's most blessed land, fertile from border to border, gold laden from north to south, and yet beg for brass? Why do we sit on gold and beg for brass? Some years ago, I was in The Hague, and a Dutch politician, finding out I was from Ghana, walked up to me and said, "I hear you're from Ghana." I said, "Yes." And he said, "One of your ministers was here last week to beg for money." And in my mind, I was like, I bet he went in a three-piece suit to beg for the money so they can buy fleets of Land Cruiser V8s, so they can pretend there are no potholes on the road they constructed just the year before, half of which has already eroded. I was embarrassed and cynical, I have to say. But many things about this country also inspire me. There are many things that break my heart, but many also inspire me. In Sierra Leone, during the campaign that brought Mada Bio into power, I heard one of the politicians on radio yelling, "Vote for me. When I become president, I will improve healthcare. No longer will our people go to America for treatment. No longer will our people go to London for treatment. No longer will our people go to Ghana for treatment." Ghana, yes. Ghana's healthcare system supports more than just Ghanaians. A lot of our brothers and sisters across the sub-region come here for medical care and tourism. We are doing some things right. All hope is not lost yet. My objective for being here this morning is to find like-minded folk who can commit to our collective development outside the dictates and promises of politics. I am not a politician. I'm just a photojournalist who roams the continent. I'm the pastor. And I'm looking for people who are eager to continue this conversation even beyond this event. How do we move this nation forward? Today, corruption pulls us back like an oversized hernia dangling between a runner's legs. Our economic bucket has been leaking since the days of Kwame Nkrumah, and now the bucket has lost its bottom. So no matter how much you pour in, it all leaks out.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
The e-levy, that too will leak out just like everything else, unless we change. Sometimes it's not more you need, it is integrity and wisdom you need. In my humble opinion, I think all Ghanaians are corrupt to some degree, different degrees, but we are tolerant of corruption. Integrity and honesty have never been virtues we've truly valued, nurtured, or rewarded. Kweku Ananse is our hero. He is crafty and selfish, and we admire him more than the pious, gentle, meek, and mild Jesus many of us claim to follow. We are more Kweku Ananse's children than we might want to admit. Fellow Ghanaians, let me borrow that very famous expression, fellow Ghanaians. Why are we corrupt? We are corrupt because we get away with it. We are corrupt because we have forgotten who we truly are. The average Ghanaian today cannot go back 3 generations. If you ask them, what is the name of your great-grandparents? Many will stare at you blankly. They don't know. Ask them to say 1,234,378 in their mother tongue. They can't. Now, if you can't go back 3 generations, how can you go forward 3 generations? How can you think about the future of your children, the future of your grandchildren, the future of your great-grandchildren? As a nation, I think we are myopic. Colonialism stripped us of our identity and told us we were less than. So we spend precious money on extravagant trifles, fancy houses, expensive cars, and designer clothing just so we can get some respect. In fact, even when we invest our money in expensive Western education, heap up their certificates and titles, all we become are copies of someone else. Educated, colonized Africans. We will never be British enough, we'll never be American enough, we'll never be white, we will never be truly accepted. And as long as we remain copies, we should know that it is always the original that fetches great value. Nobody pays enough money for copies. But what does it mean to be an original? What does it mean to be an original, authentic Ghanaian? How does that even look like? My dear friends, the word of the average Ghanaian is like the promise a man makes at his pinnacle of bliss. He doesn't remember it afterwards. I think as a nation, we have a cognitive dissonance issue, and it threatens our future. Cognitive dissonance is when the choir is singing, "Joy to the world, the Lord is come." But if you watch the faces of the choristers singing, you think they just bit into some unforgiving lemon. Cognitive dissonance is when you lock your shop to go and pray the whole day for God to bless your business. It is when you pay tithe or do sadaqah from stolen money or say, "God bless you," after collecting a bribe. Cognitive dissonance is when we show up at 8, 8:30, 9, 10 for a 7 o'clock meeting, until we develop a new culture where a person's word is their bond. And people are held accountable for their words and actions and expect to be held accountable for the promises they make, whether on a political platform or from the pulpit of a church or in the privacy of their home or at the business table, unless we start expecting accountability for the words we speak, mediocrity will continue to be our bane. Some years ago, I was hired to photograph a road project that connected some African countries. The roads from Addis Ababa to Moyale, this is where Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and Kenya meet. The road from Addis Ababa to Moyale was perfect. So I thought to myself, this is Ethiopia. The contractor knows if they do a shoddy job, they'll go to jail. That's why they've done an excellent job. And then I entered the Kenyan part of that road, that same road. And from Moyale, the Kenyan part of Moyale, all the way to Nairobi, the road was just as good as Ethiopia's. The last part of that assignment was the Fofoso Solar Road. Have you seen that road? Have you been on it? Ghana has many problems, but we don't actually need many solutions. Today, hospitals get away with it when patients who shouldn't die do die. The poor who can't afford sheep and goats struggle to get justice. Politics is like Kokofu football. If you don't have a brother in the game, you don't get a pass. Adults who should know better thought it was okay to sabotage the future of two Rastafarian kids because they won't cut their locks. We are a petty people. And the more powerful we get, the pettier we become. When are we starting serious conversations on respect and tolerance? Tolerance for those who believe different. Isn't it weird that first and foremost, a church will build prisons and then send their lawyers to go and argue for homosexuals to be jailed? Are we Pharisees or Christians? If we are Christians, then shouldn't Christ be our example? And when will we hold the syndicates that beg with children all across our cities accountable? They exploit these children under the guise of Islam. Able-bodied adults beg with vulnerable children, and we all do nothing. You find some of them begging just a few meters from where our president lives. What future will these children have? What kind of Ghanaians are they going to be as adults? And when are we going to feel shame for every woman we see carrying loads on their heads? Our women, our daughters, sisters, and wives are not donkeys. They are not beasts of burden. When are we going to be enraged enough to change the Kayayo culture? As a father and a pastor, I can tell you for a fact, fellow Ghanaians, that the hypocrisy of a parent damages a child's faith in God much quicker than any temptation out there. I have seen what religious extremism can do. I have documented the impact of jihadist activities in Gundam in northern Mali, in Dori and Kaya in Burkina Faso. I can tell you story after story of how unstable this region is. Ghana isn't as safe as we think it is. The harder life gets for the vulnerable Ghanaian, the greater the risk of them being recruited by those who seek to capture West Africa through terrorism. As long as we stay petty, self-serving, and corrupt, others will feast on our gold and we will keep begging them for brass. I dream and see a Ghana where our people are truly proud of who they are. Yes, our names may be different, our languages may be different, our faiths may be different, but at heart, we'll be the same good people, share the same vision, and work together to create a better future for our children. I know it won't be easy, but it is not impossible. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. And you just been listening to our change speakers in their attempt to awaken all of us to the matters that are important to us and that need us to be thinking every day, every minute, to do our bit to effect the change that is needed to give us the country that we look to. And Nana Kofi Acquah has been speaking on sitting on gold and begging for brass. Thank you so very much once again, Nana Kofi Acquah.